All right, welcome back to episode 3 of the PondCast. After a long hiatus away from hockey, we finally finished the play-in round. So today we're going to be making our first round predictions. Let's start with Vegas and Chicago. Who wants to make their first prediction?
Here,
Um,
I'll start. Okay, this one's obvious. Chicago's terrible. They're even perhaps worse than Edmonton. This team shouldn't even be in the playoffs. Vegas is like probably the best team out of the West.
Also,
Vegas in 5.
also
I
Vegas,
said
like their
Vegas in
record against
5.
Chicago is really good. It's like 9-2.
Chicago has a worse defense, a worse goaltending, a worse pretty equal offense. Like, dude, Vegas is just a better team. This is like probably the easiest one to predict out of all 8 series.
Hank?
Yeah, Vegas, they're a better team, but you know what?
No
Chicago's got
way.
that experience. They got
Oh,
Cruz, they got Kane.
No way you're picking Chicago.
I actually am. I fully expect that Vegas will win, but
And how many?
I'm gonna say it goes 7. I think they pull it out.
7. 7. Bro, you crazy.
I just like
Bro,
chaos.
you think Duncan Keith can skate all the way to Game 7? Like his legs will be like
Conn
sore.
Smythe Keith. Oh my!
It's
This
like-
man will pull it up.
All right.
Oh,
That's a fair take. Next series, Colorado and Arizona.
Aiden, you can start.
All right, I think I'm gonna be the only one who picks against the grain here, and I know it's a very bad prediction, but I do think Arizona will win this series. I have the Coyotes in 7, even though I know they suck at goal scoring, and that their roster in general is worse than the Avalanche. But I think this is like one of those series that like you might look back on how like a goaltender literally stole that series because Darcy Kemper played like so well against the Preds, and like most people were saying the Preds were gonna beat the Coyotes, and the Coyotes beat them in 4. So I think Coyotes in 7.
Ethan?
I actually have Colorado in 5. I don't know. I just think Colorado's offense is insane. Their goalie isn't
Yeah.
amazing or anything, but they also still have like really good D.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree
So I
with
have
you.
Colorado
I
in 5.
Nah, Taylor Hall is gonna light it up.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Feel the
I just-
thrill.
Thing
think
about Arizona,
like
they have, like when you look at their roster, they actually have insane depth. But like Aiden said, their scoring issues, like
Yeah, they have no centers.
yeah,
don't
they
have
have
a
but
no-
defense
yeah,
wins
exactly.
championships.
I
that's
just
like, not
I
true.
don't. Yeah, Pittsburgh proved us all wrong with that like multiple years in a row. But yeah, I agree. I have Colorado in 6.
Damn. So I'm the only one, and we gonna look back at this, and I'm gonna be a genius.
this could
Just like
be
Hank with Chicago.
it could be like Columbus last year.
It could be.
They
I
do
got
have
my friend
three
to bet
good-
$10 on it, and he'll make $35 if Arizona wins.
All right.
I mean, like Colorado ain't no. The Predators are pretty mediocre. Colorado ain't. McKinnon's like
That's
gonna
true.
tear up that.
Colorado's
that
definitely
core.
better than Nashville, yeah. But Nashville was still, what most people were saying was that Nashville was definitely a better team than Arizona.
All right. Next series, the Stars and the Flames. I think this one's actually really interesting.
Here,
let's
I'll
Yeah, let's
start. Since this is my
Yeah.
team. Okay. I honestly, I thought Calgary out of all the playing teams definitely looked the best. I thought like the D core was very very solid considering the Hamnick's even out. I barely watched Dallas in the round robin, but Calgary's a solid team. We won the West last year. Most of these players are still here. If Goudreau could score, first line's on. I think we have a very very good shot. I have it Calgary in 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think Calgary probably in 6 games. I think another factor too. I'm not sure if there's any update, but I think Ben Bishop and Tyler Sagan may be hurt. So I don't know if
I think
know
Bishop's
Sports in
hurt.
the last game, but I don't know if they're coming back for the official playoffs. But that could be a huge factor for Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. I also have Calgary in 6. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch any Dallas games. I was not interested in the round robin. But Calgary did play really well against the Jets, and you could argue it was because Scheifele and Laine were hurt. But even despite that, like it felt like Calgary's roster was actually just like clicking, playing really well together. So I think they can actually make a run for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Ca-
I have
ca-
Calgary in 5.
Calgary played like they kind of look like St. Louis with that decor. Like they're very mobile and they're big.
They're playing really, really well. And the goaltending's on point because Talbot's playing great.
Yeah. Funny thing is, Dallas plays exactly like Calgary with their with Heiskanen and Klingberg carrying the puck a ton.
They're just like worse though. They just don't score as much.
Yeah, no, their scoring's very mediocre.
Which is weird because
Yeah.
they have like really good players, but I guess a lot of them are past their prime, like Perry and Pavelski. But
Ben's regressed a lot.
Radulov, and Sagan.
And like whether or not Dallas starts, like if they start Khudobin or Bishop, like if Calgary can like score a bunch of goals on Hellebuck, they can score goals on Khudobin or Bishop. It doesn't
Agreed.
matter.
Yeah, that's what I was
that's a good
thinking.
comparison. Yeah. All right, last teams in the West: the Blues and the Canucks. Hank, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think I can take this one.
All right.
I know I'm a biased Canucks fan, but I'm going with the Canucks in 7. Because just like 2011, we got to knock off the Cup champs to go on a run. And I think the Canucks are going to do that. And honestly, as much as St. Louis is a good team, I look at them and I think they may be kind of hurt by the big pause in play. That kind of a team I think needs to get going. And I mean, you never know. You catch a couple games, maybe Markstrom steals one. I think the Canucks, they have the speed to do it. But I mean, I'm sure I'll be let down. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm the same. I have the Canucks in 6. I don't know why. I'm pretty homer too, but there's just I feel like the Canucks have a lot of chemistry going right now. St. Louis looks pretty bad too in the play-ins, so I mean it's just a play-in too, but
St. Louis is gonna murder Vancouver. I put St. Louis in 5, bro.
Yep.
I really don't see Vancouver playing well. Like they played really well in the play-in, but that was also the Minnesota Wild. Like it's not anything too special here. And I think St. Louis, like, yes, they didn't play well in the round robin, but I just don't see when I look at just like comparison between the rosters and the coaching, especially nothing against Green, but I just think St. Louis is the better team. I think St. Louis in 5 or 6.
Yeah. Hank almost convinced me. St. Louis is a systematic team. They need that practice time. But on the other hand, Markstrom played pretty mediocre against the Wild. I mean, goaltending's a huge factor. The thing is, I almost want to pick Vancouver. Right now I have St. Louis in 6, but I almost want to pick Vancouver. I'm a stick with St. Louis, defending champs. Washington did lose last year to the Canes, but Vancouver ain't no Carolina.
I feel like this series is really dependent on like the first game. I feel like whoever wins it is gonna win the series.
Yeah, big
wins.
momentum swing.
Yeah.
However, it is pretty awesome, like being in the city and watching this team. Like people get behind it again.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone on Twitter, what they're saying is true. That like if Canucks win, then that's great. They're going on a run, and if they lose, like all those young guys are getting experience against Stanley Cup champs. So like.
Yeah,
it's a win-win for
win-win.
Canucks. Like they weren't even expected to do great this year, so it's like
So
a big step.
So will Levy be starting in the real playoffs?
Hey, I mean, the Canucks are undefeated with Levy on the roster, man.
Exactly.
And Eriksson, bro. Eriksson, big factor. Big
Eriksson
seed.
never lost a playoff game all year, so we'll see.
They have Verkanen still in the lineup, so.
Yeah, just stuck on the 4th line.
All right, first. You want to add more?
Oh no, go ahead.
All right, well, I was just gonna move on to the East. First, Philadelphia and Montreal. I think this one's kind of easy.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I got the Flyers in 5. I actually think the Flyers are gonna do really well this year. They looked really good in the play-ins. Montreal. Price is playing amazing, so I feel like he'll probably steal a game. But I have the Flyers in 5.
Yeah, I agree with you. I this is the only sweep I have. Montreal is a bad team. They don't create offense other than like these cycles and mistakes. The Flyers D are young, but like I don't even think Montreal's gonna have the puck in their zone enough. Like seriously. Montreal's D and their center depth is just gonna get torn apart by two-way centers like Couturier. Price could only play so well. Carter Hart's also a stud.
Another
Yeah,
thing too.
I agree.
Sorry, Giroux and I think Voracek. I think their top line like didn't score a goal in the play-ins, and they didn't score
Yeah.
they didn't score any power play goals either. So if they actually start getting going, they're gonna kill Montreal.
Guys.
I think they're gonna do really well in the playoffs. So
Yeah, Philly's going to do great against Montreal. I have Philly in 6. It is still like a little risky. I always have like a bit of hesitation picking the teams from the round robin because they still haven't played any high pressure games. So I always sort of anticipate that they'll probably lose game 1 and then start playing like better, but which is why I have Philly in 6 instead of 5. And I also agree. I think Philadelphia's going to go on a pretty big run this year. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go against everyone here a little bit.
oh my.
no way.
I was betting on Montreal against Pittsburgh, and
That's true. And I
I'm-
gave
I'm
you
not
shit
gonna-
for it.
I'm not gonna stop going against
This guy's crazy.
against everyone, and I believe in Price, man. He basically he stole that series against
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. completely.
He did.
They can't score a goal to save their lives, but I think
Philadelphia's got better depth though than Pittsburgh.
they do. They do. I don't know why. I feel like you can't go wrong picking a hot goalie.
Yeah, dude. For that reason, the depth reason is the Montreal's bottom 2 and like their bottom lines and forwards just can't compete with any good team. Like even their top lines. So,
Dude,
I
they're
mean,
just not a playoff team. They just have a good goalie.
Yep.
they may be worse than Chicago, and I know I'm just picking on the 8s here, but I really do feel that way.
I got Montreal in 7. Just I'm hopeful.
I hope it happens.
I'm not completely against you though, because I think like Suzuki and Kotkaniemi are amazing. They're gonna do really well.
Yeah.
They stepped up
I
pretty
will
big in
s-
the play-ins, so
I will say, out of all the like round robin teams Montreal want to face, probably the Flyers are the best case scenario. I think like all these other teams with experience and stuff would like clean their slate, but Flyers there's like a small chance.
That's true.
Yeah, you never know with them.
all right. Next teams, the Lightning and the Blue Jackets. I'm not actually sure what you guys feel about that, but I have Tampa Bay in 6. I thought Tampa Bay looked great in the play-ins. Again, not really that meaningful, but
Dude, this one's tough, man.
Yeah,
But
I
on
think
the-
this is one of the toughest ones for sure.
Okay, because on the one hand, like Columbus looked good against Toronto. That last game, where the penalties were like very low, and that's kind of how the playoffs are played. They look very very good.
Yeah.
They're shut down. Corpus Hallow obviously was a stud in that game. And can he keep it up against Tampa? Who knows? I think Tampa's out for blood though. This kind of seems like a year for them. Nothing's too like particular. I just a team like this, they're gonna knock on the door and eventually it's gonna fall.
Yeah, I mean, so I like as a Leafs fanboy, I did watch every Columbus Toronto game, and like what I noticed is that obviously I'm very biased towards the Leafs, but like the fact that I think it was 2 different games that like they managed to just shut down the entire Leafs offense, which is why they were even in the playoffs. Because let's be real, the Leafs don't have defense in the slightest, and like the fact that you can shut down like Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, and then the rest of the depth, which is like worse, but still not that bad. Like to completely shut them out says a lot about that team, and they were blocking so many shots. Like I think they were just like outnumbering every other team in those play-ins and shot
Classic
blocks.
Torts. Classic
Yeah.
Torts.
And then Corpus Salo's on his game, and even if he's not, like Mers Lincolns is playing great too. So they've got 2 great goalies if one's not playing well. So I have Columbus in 7 just because I think they're just riding that momentum from like beating Toronto in 5.
Yeah, I'm actually I think I'm gonna go with Columbus on this one as well. I feel bad about
Underdog
it.
picker.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, I feel like Tampa I want to say they can bounce back and they should absolutely kill Columbus. But I don't know, I think Columbus can do it. There's not much more dangerous than a young team that starts to believe they can actually do something.
Yeah.
And Columbus we saw it with Tampa last year. Now they beat Toronto. I know that's not the real playoffs, really, but I mean, I think Torts is going to get them jacked. And again, hot goalie, and they have 2 of them, so I
That's
think
actually
they can do it in 7.
the thing is Merzlikins is actually injured indefinitely, but Korpisalo is still.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Tort said
Like,
today.
something I would say is that, so like what I said about Columbus being able to shut down Toronto offensively, which is like basically Toronto's only skill is their offense. Like, I think if they can do that to Toronto, then they can definitely do it to a Tampa Bay team that has Stamkos and Hedman out for now, like 2 of their best offensive players.
All right, that's fair. Next series, the Caps and the Islanders. I actually think this one's pretty hard too.
Yo, I think Aiden should start this off because of his Islanders bias.
Oh my gosh. I hate the Islanders for 2 reasons. One, because ever since they lost their best player, they became way better than the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then 2, they are the most boring team to watch. I stand by that. Like, in this whole playoffs, I really hate watching the Islanders. It bores me to like tears. And this is, in my opinion, the toughest series to pick just because, like, in theory, Washington is the better team and they're the higher seed, but they didn't play great in the plans. They're going with Holtby because Samsonov's not there. And like, the Islanders are capable of doing a shutdown, but at the same time, you got to think like Ovechkin's due for like some big goals, Kuznetsov, Backstrom. So I have Washington in 6, but this is like the one I'm the least certain about. I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is really hard. Like, whenever a team, like, it's almost like they're on their hangover of their actual Stanley Cup hangover. It's been like 2 years, and it's like they're obviously still a really, really good team. They have that core. I love Tom Wilson, as you guys know. I think he's like an excellent playoff player. I just, the Islanders, the Islanders don't score enough, which is crazy for a team with Matt Barzal. The Islanders are kind of a poor man's Washington, to be totally honest. They don't have Obi, and that's kind of the big difference. I also have the Caps in 6, but this is kind of just a gut pick.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I really don't know who to go for, and I feel like I picked Columbus over Tampa, but of the 2 teams who kind of need 2 good teams that need a rebound here, I'm kind of more lenient towards the Caps just as a bounce back because I think they've done it and maybe they can do it again. So I'd say maybe Caps in 6.
And I think I'm the only one who has the Islanders. I have the Islanders in 6. I think their D is like really good. They're all like shutdown guys. I think they're gonna do really well against the Washington offense. Also, they have Barry Trotz. He's a great coach. But their offense, is pretty lacking.
I also like to say Ryan Pulak's like a really good PP defenseman. And he was hurt most of the year, so their fucking power play is like way worse than it actually is. So that's also something to look for.
Yeah, true.
All right, last series, the Bruins versus the Hurricanes. I know Carolina's Hank's favorite team, right?
No, you know what? I didn't even look at the matchups. I know Carolina has all the good analytics and they went to the 3rd round and everything. I picked Boston purely out of hate for Carolina. I just don't like that team and I don't want to see them win. And that's coming from a Canucks fan who hates Boston. And I'd rather see Boston win just because they're more fun.
Dude,
and,
I almost like I'm parallel opinion. I hate Carolina. I think they're the most boring team. I think they're way worse than the Islanders. The team plays like chest to chest hockey, and then they dump it in once in a while. I could care less about these like cool goals that Shmeshnikov scores, and fucking Aho I don't think is like a tough enough player for the playoffs. In Boston is like, Boston's a good team. I don't give a shit. Like no one should care about like a play-in record. Carolina just, I don't know. They're missing something. That indescribable quality of a Stanley Cup team, they're kind of missing it.
I agree.
I actually have Carolina winning it in 7, I think it's going to be a really close series. I think Boston, I also am not really falling for, oh, Boston had like a bad round robin, so they're going to play badly. Like, no, it's Boston in the playoffs. Like, Boston in the playoffs does not like mess around. So I think they're going to play great. But I just think Carolina, like, they lost to Boston last year in the conference finals in 6, I think. And
Dude,
I
they
just
looked
think
so bad last year against Boston.
They got
I
swept.
just think
so
they've
bad.
just they got swept.
Yeah, they got swept.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought they lost in 6. Oh my goodness, I did not know that. But I have Carolina in 7 just because I think this is the year that Carolina takes like the step forward from being like below Boston to above. I don't know. It's sort of like what Corey said with the gut feeling.
Yeah, I got Carolina in 7 too. I really like their top line with Svech and Aho. Also, their D is insanely stacked, so their goalie is pretty shit, but
Dude, what I think that quality is about like this goalie is about like this team is they haven't been together long enough, like this core, in my opinion, to like kind of mesh together into this like perfect like chemical that is gonna win a Stanley Cup. I really do think it's that. I know they went far last year. I just don't believe in this team.
Yeah, I just think they made it to the 3rd round last year when no one thought they would because they kind of entered like, and people thought they were sort of 1st round exit, like 2nd round at most. I think they can do that again. I think they can go on a run, especially now that they've had a whole nother year to build that chemistry. And the Boston Bruins are like 1 year older, and that is for the most part, a pretty old team. Like you look at some of those best players, they're getting up there in age. So
yeah, Carolina also had a lot of great players at the deadline. Like Vatanen's already on their top line. They also lost Pesci. Brady Shea's there. Trocheck had a great play-in.
Trocheck, I forgot
Had
about
a
love
great
Trocheck.
play-in series. So I think Carolina's gonna toughen it out and win the series. Do you guys want to?
Yeah, we might as well do like theoretical, or we could all talk about our Stanley Cup winner and why.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to say who your finals matchup is and who the winner you think is gonna?
Yeah,
I don't want to go first.
go
yeah,
ahead.
same.
Me?
have
Well,
mine.
mine's a meme. I'm a homer. I put Van. This is just what I want to see. Honestly, I don't have anything to back this up at all. I
Vancouver
just
over who?
believe Vancouver over Colorado and Vegas, and then the Flyers.
So Vancouver and the Flyers in the final.
Yeah, I think the Flyers are gonna do amazing. Their road is probably one of the easiest too. If they beat Montreal and the Islanders advance, I think they have a pretty easy path to
That's
the
true.
finals.
Yeah.
Again, I've nothing to back up why I have Vancouver, other than the fact that I just want to see it happen.
Dude,
Is that the one
lit.
you're gonna submit for our
Yeah,
bet?
yeah.
You're gonna submit Canucks winning the cup.
Yeah.
Bro, this guy's too rich.
Yeah. Got too much money to burn.
Hopefully, I can just win on all the other first rounds and the rest. But
The cup winner's worth the most though.
yeah, 100 points.
So I have Vegas over Carolina, and I actually initially had Vegas over Philly for the finals, and then realized I was doing the thing where I just picked the first seeds to go all the way to the finals, which never ever happens. I think the last time we had like seed 1 meet seed 1 in the finals was like the 90s or something. It's been like a very, very long time. So I don't want to pick that just because I don't think it's likely to happen. And so I thought about it, and I think if Carolina can beat Boston, which is a risky pick, I think they'll have an easy time with the rest of the rounds because I think Boston might actually be the toughest opponent for them to face. So that's why I had them going to the finals. And then Vegas over Carolina, just because I think Vegas sort of is replicating what St. Louis did, where they just like fired their coach, and it was like pretty shocking to some people. But then that new coach just comes in, and the team just somehow starts playing even better. I think Vegas can win it.
Another team who's fired their coach and started playing even better was Calgary. I will add that. Even though I'm not even sure if I want this. I have right now Vegas beating Calgary, but like I almost want to do what Ethan did. I almost want to just pick what I want.
You know a team that fired their coaching out worse? Dallas. They went into absolute dog shit. They lost like their last 8 games of the season.
Oh,
Fired
Dude,
the guy.
Nashville did that too. They fired Laviolette and just got so much worse under John Hines.
dude, the thing is, I can't see Calgary being Vegas. They're just so Vegas is
Yeah.
just a better team than Calgary. But
I
that's
think
okay.
I'm gonna do Calgary to the third round, but then Vegas beats them.
Yeah, you see, you have a bunch of upsets in the lower. Yeah. Anyways, I have Tampa winning it all against St. Louis. I have like the most boring bracket in the world. I really do think it's Tampa's year. They've been knocking for a while. They have the pieces there. I will say, if Juan Ruda is like actually going to be hurt, that's a huge loss. He's like the type of guy you win cups with. You know, he's that Brooks Orpik type. He's that Brooks Orpik or like Colton Parayko type, where he's big tough defenseman at the back end.
So you have St. Louis in the finals?
Yeah, St. Louis is built. Clearly, they've shown that. I'm debating whether the thing is Colorado like survives on McKinnon and Rantanen. They have no like Samuel Girard is not a defenseman that is going to be good in the playoffs.
Yeah, their depth
Nazem
honestly
Kadri's-
ain't the greatest, but
Yet they still pull off like this incredible record.
it still seems pretty reliant on McKinnon and Makar to be your offensive
Yeah.
like drive.
Yeah, exactly. They're a really power play based team too. In the playoffs, there's less penalties, so I don't know all those factors. I'm gonna end up putting Calgary over Vegas just because I really don't like Vegas.
So you're gonna have, but you
And then-
still have the same finals?
Yeah, and I have Boston, Tampa in the conference final. I might put Philly, but I don't know. I'll probably put Philly actually. Philly's more exciting. That's a 1v2. That's the only thing.
Yeah, so before we did this, I didn't put my teams all the way through, so I'm not exactly sure. Just looking over it here while you guys were talking, I'm kind of liking Calgary out west, and I like Boston out east. I just think they're too good a team.
You think Calgary's gonna make it to the final?
I think Calgary's
do.
a
I
great
actually-
underdog pick actually.
I think they have a shot.
Dude, maybe I'll just put Calgary. 2001 rematch. Bro, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put
Oh
Calgary.
my
I thought about
god.
And Hank, you think Boston's going to the finals? President's Trophy.
I think,
2004.
I think
curse.
Boston's winning the cup actually, but yeah, I don't know. I need to think about it more. So I'm not that. I'll probably end up changing that in our official bracket, but for right now, I'll say I like Boston.
Dude, just the fact that Ethan's kind of thrown this thing out the window almost wants me to pick the homer guys.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's just more fun to like.
Oh yeah, I wish I could do that.
Oh, shit.
we could talk about this too. You know, there's a lot of chat after the Leafs lost once again in like pretty much the first round about like, you know, what needs to change, and we could talk about that. Aiden, you could
Yeah.
go ahead and rant.
Yeah, so I actually started looking at a lot of what people were saying on like Twitter and Reddit about what needs to change in the Leafs, because like, you know, that's now I think this is now 4 years with like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Anderson, and I think now 2 years with Tavares, and it's just every single time. It was 3 first-round exits, and now this isn't even a first-round exit. This is like trying to get into the playoff series exit. So like, and people were always saying, oh, like Toronto, like first year was Washington, and like they were all young, so it doesn't really count. Then like Toronto just can't beat Boston. It's like, well, now we can't even beat Columbus either. So there's clearly a problem here, and I think it's like, I think Dubas is part of the problem, even though I don't think it's just like fire Dubas. I'd say give Dubas and Keefe one more full year, because Keefe wasn't even in for the full year. Not that that matters at all, because they still like made the play-ins, but I think just give them one more year. But then everyone on Twitter and Reddit was saying to trade Marner, and I disagree so much. Like, Marner is like the one of those 4 big names who is like so much more of a playmaker than the other 3. Like, Nylander is to an extent, but like he still has a tendency to just want to shoot the puck, and so does Matthews, and so does Tavares. So if you trade Marner, you're just gonna have 3 guys who just want to snipe and like no one to set them up. and it's not going to go well. I think Marner, to be honest, had like, this might come back to bite me in the ass. I think he had the best like play-in series of those 4 names. I think he played really well compared to them, even though his stats weren't showing it all too well. So I don't really know who to trade. I'm kind of going on a rant here. Sorry. If anyone wants to chip in, please feel free. But like, I from day one did not think the Tavares signing was a good idea. I was obviously excited that we got John Tavares, but like, I just knew like signing him for $11 million for like 7 years on this team that already doesn't have any defense, and like you still had yet to sign so many big guys. It was a bad idea from the beginning, and now as every year goes by, his contract becomes more and more untradeable. So if I could pick a guy to trade, I would trade Tavares, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's actually, I'd say least likely to be traded is Matthews, then Tavares. I think those two are the safe choices. And I'm worried that Dubas is going to trade away Marner or Nylander to act like the problem is fixed when Nylander has the best cap hit of those 4. Like, he only makes 6.9 compared to 11, 11.6, and 10.9. So Nylander is not the issue. And then Marner, like I said, is the only guy who can actually like make plays happen. So I don't know. They definitely need to get more defense, which has been the problem for years now.
Dude.
But I don't think it's coaching just yet.
Yo, I think you're the most woke Leafs fan I've ever. Like, I agree. Like with almost everything you said. I think Tavares was probably the biggest mistake there because they already had Kadri, who's great as a 2C already, and they probably could have used that money elsewhere. Because now they really need D.
Yeah, like really, really badly. And they picked up Tyson Berry for 1 year. He played terribly, and now he's just going to leave because he can get so much money anywhere else. And next year, the only defensemen they have are Morgan Riley, who's good, but like isn't great defensively. Like, he's good offensively. They have Muzzin, who's good. They have Justin Hall, who's like a good third line guy, and Rasmus Sandin, who's going to be in his 2nd year. So like, not someone you want to just like put all the pressure on. So like, we're losing CC, thank God. We're losing Dermott unless he resigns. Dermott, I really hope we keep. I do like Dermott. But the Leafs just really, they need to trade one of those big 4. I think if I actually had to make a bold prediction, I think one of those big 4 will be traded by next year's trade deadline. Like, if it doesn't happen this offseason, it will happen by next trade deadline. I'm just really worried that it will be Nylander or Marner when that is not going to fix the problem at all, especially if you trade Marner. Like, I guarantee the team will get worse if you trade away Marner. I am so, like, stuck up on that. What do you guys think, Cormac and Henry?
What I like noticed in that last game particularly was that the 3rd and 4th lines of the Toronto Maple Leafs, like okay, the last game they stacked their first line, which were just like outstanding. And you know, they were, and the other ones were kind of useless. Nylander was put at center like all of a sudden, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
But, that was kind of a bad move. But I think Nylander is a very good player. I don't like how they coach the 3rd and 4th lines to pretty much play like the 1st and 2nd line. They carry the puck way too much in the neutral zone. And they aren't like I like Alexander Kerfoot, but this guy, you know, your 3rd and 4th line centers seem to be these big physical guys that could win faceoffs, and they're really just not. Kadri's like a big loss. They don't have any like grit. I know that sounds like an old time hockey thing, but I really do believe it.
Yeah, it's definitely
I'm kind of with you on that. The other thing I think is, I don't know if the answer necessarily is just to like trade away a core piece. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like as much as I'd love to see Toronto just blow their team apart, like I don't know if that's the thing. I'm more with you, Cormac. Like, the bottom 6 and like like you can't play, you can't have CC and Marinson playing in a playoff hockey game. Like, it just,
you definitely
your team
can.
won't. You just can't, and you can't play CC like 20 minutes or whatever. It just doesn't work. Yeah, that D needs to be changed up. I think it's really just, I think they need a little bit of cap room. need to make some minor adjustments, but I think you got to give the core 4 guys another year with Keefe. But yeah, the same thing. I think Tavares, obviously, not the greatest looking contract, but big one. Yeah, I don't think you should trade Marner, and I really don't think you should trade Nylander now. I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean,
just
go ahead, Aiden.
The problem defensively is that they literally have no cap space at all, so they'd have to trade one of those big 4 because those 4 guys make up half the cap space, which is a whole nother issue because, you know, one, Canadian taxes, and then you playing in Toronto, so.
Yeah,
and I'm not blaming this guy, but what about getting rid of Freddie? I mean, he makes $5 million. I'm on the side of
dude. Freddie's
I'm on the side of spend absolutely no money on goaltending, and I'm not saying he's the problem. But, he is 0-8 in elimination games.
Yeah, I just think
you can't win a game 0-0.
If you put a better defense in front of Anderson, I think he's top 5 or 6 goalies in the league. He has played his whole career in Toronto with such bad defense, every year, year after year, really not great defense in front of Anderson, and it really saddens me because he's the people that everyone was attacking on social media was CC and Barry. Those were 2 getting attacked a lot, which were justified because Barry was what happened to this guy, this incredibly offensive defenseman who's now playing terrible. CC's been terrible from the start. But then a lot of people attacking Nylander and Anderson. Those 2, really just, I hate seeing that. Nylander, everyone just calls him lazy. I think it's the way he skates makes it look like he's not trying or something, but everyone's Nylander clearly doesn't care. And it's yes, he does. He's in a playoff situation. Of course he cares, even if it doesn't look like it. And then Anderson, it's how is he going to let that in? It's I'll tell you how he lets it in. He has Marinson and CC defending him and probably screening him.
The other thing I don't get is how is no one ever called out for Riley to be moved? You know what I mean? I know he's probably the best defenseman, besides maybe Muzzin, but I mean, you could get a big return for a guy like that, and he makes $5 million.
Yeah, I think he just adds to the offense from the blue line.
I guess, but I don't know. I feel like you could trade for 2 pieces that.
I don't know, man. He makes less than Nylander.
I don't know.
I think it would be hard to convince somebody that you should trade Riley before someone like Nylander. That's a bad example, but you know what I mean. We could also talk about Edmonton.
Yeah. Big colossal failure. Edmonton. Let's talk about Edmonton and Pittsburgh at the same time. Number 5 seeds losing to number 12 when I'd say 90% of people picking them to win.
Not Edmonton.
Really? I think most people were picking Edmonton to beat Chicago. Chicago was playing ass before the regular season ended.
They're kind of similar teams. They're kind of just offense, no D.
Except the 1-1-3 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
Edmonton's another team just like Toronto where the offense is so heavily paid that you don't have great offensive depth and you just have really bad defense also. They're kind of in the same boat in that way. And Edmonton, I think, has a bigger issue also with goaltending that they don't Koskinen good, but he's not great. And then the defense really needs adjustment. So they are pretty similar to Toronto, except with Edmonton, I just don't know what you do because you're not trading McDavid or Draisaitl. It's not like Toronto where you have 4 massive contracts. It's you're not going to trade McDavid and Draisaitl because that's your core. You just sort of have to hope that your young guys develop into great players, which Edmonton doesn't have a history of developing their prospects very well, so it's not looking good, but I don't know what you do as Edmonton. I actually think they might be in a worse scenario than Toronto because at least Toronto can trade away a big name and hope that changes things. Where Edmonton seems like they've tried so much and just nothing works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, with Edmonton, I feel like a lot of it is coaching. Like, I know they don't have any depth whatsoever, and their D is pretty brutal. But, there also is the big factor of, like, McDavid and Draisaitl are some of the worst defensive players in the league. And, like, I know it's like they create this such amazing offensive duo, and they're some of those talented players in the world, but, like, that's a big factor on the game. Like, they're costing their team goals all the time. And I feel like the biggest reason is because they have no one else to play. So they're playing guys like Draisaitl plays the penalty kill. Like, why? There's
I
no
agree
reason.
with you. Yeah, exactly.
You need some depth. You need bottom six. Like they picked up like Tyler Ennis and stuff. You need guys like that in the bottom.
Yeah.
He played well.
You need to not have Zach Cassian on the first line if you want to make it far. That's like serious. Why was he on the first line? Like,
yeah, why did they extend him for like 4 years or whatever, too?
Ethan?
Sorry, I just had a bunch of shit going on in my room, so I had to be a little bit mute. But
Oh no.
yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I think they need a goalie. Like, I don't think Koskinen is it, or I don't even know who the fuck the backup is. Smith?
Yeah.
Right? Like, those guys aren't really good enough to be like your starting
retire.
goaltenders. Yeah. And Koskinen was pretty much unproven, and then he gets like a big contract this year. The D's lacking. I think it's mostly Chiarelli just fucked up on a bunch of trades, because you could have got much better returns for Hall and Eberle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
Like, they almost traded Hall for CC, so I mean, it could have been worse. But I think they were also trying to get Jones. Man. They were trying to get Jones too.
CC's bad, but you don't know Adam. You don't like Adam Larson could be playing a whole game without you noticing. He's a very invisible player.
Yeah,
they did make the playoffs though when he like came in the first year, and then
he had that one good year.
But I think it's just because Talbot kind of carried them a little bit. He had that one really good year. He played like over 70 games.
Another thing we could talk about if you want. Or actually, you think you could finish what you were saying about Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, I don't know. I just wanted to know what you guys thought, because they were pretty disappointing. I mean, I bet on them like twice, and they failed miserably. I don't know. Oh, I think it's mostly Jack Johnson is pretty much just a pylon out there. Patrick Marleau played way too many minutes. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because
like, the whole thing with Pittsburgh is that, yes, Price is like one of the best goalies in the world. There's no doubt about it. But like, do you guys think that series really can be simplified just to, like, Price is so good that he shut down the Penguins the whole time? Or is it like, is there actually a problem with Pittsburgh? Because, like, remember, like, yes, they just lost Montreal, despite the fact that most people thought they would kill Montreal. Last year, they were swept by the Islanders. So, like, I know it's like a small sample size, but that's 2 straight years that Pittsburgh very much disappointed. So is there, like, perhaps more to the problem than just like, oh, Carey Price is a great goalie, what can you do? Like, do you guys think there's more to it?
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part of this series was coaching. I know Sullivan, he's won some cups and everything, but this year and last year, he's been able to work so well in the regular season with this team. Like Pittsburgh this year, they just miraculously turned it into one of the best defensive teams in the league because Crosby went out, and they just completely changed their entire like team chemistry around, and it worked so well. But then they just collapsed against Montreal, who doesn't have very powerful offense.
Yeah, Montreal sucks, aside from Price.
Like, you can kind of just sum it up to Price for the offense, like lack of scoring, I guess. But I mean, I know Jack Johnson was a big deal and he wasn't great. Obviously, he was terrible. But the whole D was like pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The whole series. And they were Montreal, like they have like what? I like Gallagher, but who do they have? Pushing through. And they just, I don't know, they got the better of them. I don't know what you do with that team though right now. you have guys on the way out, but they're obviously still going to try to compete with Malkin and Crosby. So I don't know how you fix that team or what you do, but Lafreniere would help.
Maybe fire the coach. Like, I feel like it's coaching and defense because I think goaltending, once they commit to Jari, won't be a problem. I think he is the better goalie as of right now.
Yeah, you got to dump Murray.
For sure. And then the offensive depth isn't great, but it's still a team with Crosby and Malkin, so it's not bad by any means. I think it is coaching and defense that really need attention paid to. That's all I have to say. Don't really have anything else to add to that conversation.
I think that's a pretty good place to end it, Ethan.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and sub. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
We'll post more often.
Hopefully,
Yes.
we'll see.
Maybe
after the first round. After the first round.
No, we should put it on record right now. So we hold ourselves.
So
to
for
it.
everyone watching, we will upload more. I don't know what more exactly is, but hopefully more than
We won't
once every
take as
4
long
months.
as the break.
Yeah.
We'll be back each round.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.